Hello and good evening. Welcome to Friday night's Sid Says. This week, we're going to be talking not about transfers in, but we're actually going to do one on transfers out. Potential exits from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. A lot of the players, probably everyone's already got them on their list, but we need to talk about it because it's all... I mean, there's nothing going on at the moment in the transfer world in terms of Tottenham Hotspur. Everyone else is buying. We don't seem to be buying or doing nothing. And joining me to discuss the exits or the potential exits is the notorious, the main man of Paxton Road TV, Mr. Mike Hotspur Hustler. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, not bad, mate. It's Friday once again. It's the weekend upon us.
Absolutely.
Whether our North London derby gets played on Sunday remains to be seen. However, well, it's one of them, isn't it? They haven't got COVID's not the issue. It's more like injuries, suspension, and I think they've got a couple of players in the African Cup of Nations, haven't they? So I don't know. They should be made to play it, but let's wait and see what happens. I know there's a few in our WhatsApp group that think it might be postponed, and could well be, couldn't it?
Well, the law is, I think I put it up, didn't I? They need to have 13 or 14 outfield players, including a goalkeeper, and I think they've only got 12.
Well, I thought it was 12 that were missing. I thought 12 were absent, which was 8 or 9. I thought they had something like 8 or 9 definitely missing, either through COVID injuries or suspension, which I think they've only got one COVID case. And I thought there was 2. I thought there was a couple of doubts. Tomiyasu and I want to say ESR was the other. Saka was injured.
Cedric got injured, and then Idiot Man, who idiots always do, got sent off. And I think
that's included with the suspension. But
apparently the law says they have to have 14 players, 13 outfield, and a goalkeeper available to play. Arsenal only have 12 available players. My question is, where's all this academy and under 23s and youths? I thought, what is the point of having a youth system, academy play? Well, not academy, but under 23s, a B team. You know, it is what it is at the end of the day. If you've got players injured, we've had enough players injured, but
this is the thing, and this is the thing. Like getting games cancelled for COVID, that's fine. That's one thing. Yeah. But if you're going in the realms of, well, we've got suspension, we've got injuries,
and AFCON,
if you're then able to cancel games because of that, then it just sort of surely that leaves it open to I say abuse, but it leaves it open to interpretation insofar as, well, if you've got a valid reason to postpone a game, then you can do so. So I don't know.
It is what it is. If it goes ahead, it goes ahead. But I just hope if it doesn't go ahead, then they need to make that decision quickly rather than on a Sunday at 1 o'clock or something stupid. Premier League need to get their fingers out their backside and make that decision straight away. If it's been submitted today, then they need to obviously decide on it today, because people got things to do on the weekend, you know. And I'm sure people don't want to make trips from wherever they're coming to and then decide, oh, it's been cancelled like an hour before kickoff, which it has been done recently. It's just not going to be fair. So you know, let's see what happens. I'm not pinning my hopes on the game going ahead, to be fair, because big clubs tend to rule the roost, don't they? So let's see what happens.
Yeah. You know? I think it will be one of them. Just wait and see.
That's it. But talking of North London derbies, it is a massive North London derby this weekend. And what we want, everybody on Paxton Road, when you're listening or watching, is send us your video score predictions. Do a little video up to 30 seconds long. Send it in. And on the preview show tomorrow, we will post as many videos as we can with everyone's predictions for the scores. So send your videos in. The number is on screen, but for the ones that are listening, it's +44 7774 364 819. If you send the videos in, like I said, only 30 seconds long, just tell us that Spurs, I know what they're going to be. Spurs are going to win. Just send it in to us, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get as many as we can on the show when we do the preview show around 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And also, everyone watching and listening, please smash that subscribe button, like and follow us. As always, we've said, the boys here at Paxton Road and the ladies giving you as much entertainment and as many shows as possible. So please, if you're watching, if you're tuning in, if you're listening, it takes a second. Take that said, he only takes a minute, but you know what? Paxton Road boys are saying he only takes 5 seconds. Yeah. So just smash that like button, smash it. Right. So last week we talked about incomings. I decided, you know what? There's no point talking about incomings because it's the same people we're talking about that we talked about in the summer. So, you know, and we're throwing names into the hats, which realistically, Daniel Levy is not. We're not going to get.
If we want them, just get the bloody deals done, isn't it? It's annoying me.
100%.
What we got? 18 or 19 days left.
Exactly. You know, so just get it over the line. Whoever we need. Conte knows. He's given the list.
Yeah.
He's told them who he wants. We've gone from getting X amount of players to now you're going to get 1 or 2. And now we've gone to, we haven't got enough money. We're going to give you loan players. So I decided then, you know what, instead of doing who's coming in, let's talk about who's going out. I've got an endless list, right? We could have gone on for hours and ends, but I thought, let's talk about the main players that we potentially think that are going to be going. So let's start off with everyone's favourite player at the moment, everyone's favourite right back, as some would call him Doherty, but it's Matt Doherty, our infamous right back. And you might see 2 sums of figures here. The yellow is what we paid, 15 million, and the pink, because it's Doherty, it's got nothing to do with that. It's 10 million, potentially 10 million. That's just price, but I don't even think we're going to get 10 million. I think we're looking at a loan deal. So let me just move that. Okay, so what I've done is, rather than just do this season, I've done everything since he's signed for us. His contract, his contract expires 2025. So he's played 42 times for Tottenham Hotspurs. And total minutes, he's played 3,104 minutes. So as you can see on screen, I've broken it down. So Premier League, he's played 21 games and total time is 1,336. Now, like you and like me, Mike, I'm sure you're probably thinking, how the hell has he managed 1,336 minutes? With, you know... And I know he's not one of your favourite players, so...
No, I've got very little to... I've got very little to say. Well, I say very little to say. I've got plenty to say to him, but it's very little positives.
I mean, look at his appearances. FA Cup, he's made 3 appearances, 278 minutes. EFL Cup, 4 appearances, 283 minutes. The Conference Cup, 3 appearances, 233 minutes. Europa League, 7 appearances, 614, and 1 Champions League game where he's played 90 minutes.
Flipping now, he's played Champions League.
Yeah, he's played 1 game of 90 minutes. So it's for somebody who came with a massive reputation from Wolves, who was playing week in, week out consistently for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's come to Spurs, and I would say his career has taken a nosedive big time, because for somebody of his so-called ability, 42 appearances should have been, I'm saying, at least double, maybe triple figures. But it just proves the managers, Mourinho bought him, didn't work. Nuno bought him, didn't work. And now it looks like Conte's forced to play him. What are you thinking realistically, Mike? What's gonna happen to him?
I think we're going to be stuck with him to the end of the season, at least. I can't see it unless. And this is what annoys me because it's just these players that aren't good enough. He's one of them. He's not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I wouldn't even have him. I know you can't expect, I don't know, whatever the squad is nowadays, 26, 28, even if you said 30 players that are going to be all world-class players. So you have to have a bit of a balance as to, and Liverpool are a fine sort of example. They've got world-class players, they've got very good players, they've got good players, and then they've got your sort of, I say, average players, your players that are happy to be on the bench, come on and do a job as and when called upon, but they know their role within that squad. I wouldn't even put him in that category of he knows his role in the squad, because when he comes on and when we've needed him, what does he provide for the team? I know everyone, like all the viewers, the Tottenham fans, we probably all sing off the same hymn sheet. Get rid. If we can get rid of him, then we should do that. But we're in a position whereby I think we need the numbers. And he's here because it's a numbers game for us at the moment. What with sort of the squad size that we've got, injuries, COVID, when you rack it all together, and if you get like Arsenal, for example, whereby if you get a combination of players that playing in national tournaments, if you've got players that are injured, suspended, COVID, then you are sort of up against it as to being able to field not just a team out, but a side that can compete in the Premier League or whatever competition that they're playing in.
Yeah.
I just, and I'm not gonna batter him because I've probably done enough of it on previous streams, but I just don't see what he brings. I just don't see what he brings to us as a team. I like the other day. Did he put a ball into the box? I didn't see the game. I was at football myself, but from the first, I think I managed to squeeze in 5-10 minutes of the game at the beginning, and even then I saw enough to be like, oh yeah, it's just going to be the usual. Cuts back in, plays it back into the middle of the park, and then we tried to switch it over to Royal. Either Royal's going to be the same sort of thing. Can he get a ball in? If he does, it's going to be a poor cross, or he's just going to come back inside. And it just seemed like that would be what we would see for the rest of the game. But Doherty, if we can get, this is what I would say, if we can get between 5 and 8 million for him, then I think we've done a good bit of business in getting out of him. But when you look at it against, we paid 15 million for him.
Yeah,
it's not good business in that sense. But where I wouldn't even say it's a Mourinho signing. I don't think it is a Mourinho signing. I reckon Mourinho came with a list of players that he wanted, that he thought would upgrade the squad. For whatever reason, they didn't come in, and we end up with an alternative, i.e., like a Matt Doherty. Yeah. So if we can get 5 to 8 million for him, I'd snap whatever team's hands off. I'd even pack his cases and I'd help him make the move up. I'd even drive him to his destination if instead of him having to call an Uber. But and if we can, the problem is the loan deals. Yeah, that might work for us in some respects. Like if he goes on loan somewhere, plays well, and there's an option to buy. Then that might drive his figure up to nearer the 10 to 15 million pound mark. But I don't know. Just sell. Just get rid. However it is, we just got to get him out of the club. Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's I might be a bit harsh, but I think we have to be a little bit brutal. Some of these players we've got, we just need to move them on as quickly as possible and start this rebuild that Conte's mentioned, this project, whatever it might be, and just get the ball rolling.
I think there's
sooner the bell.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of repeat on this one, but I think sentimental has to go out the window now, and it's got to be cutthroat now. So before we move on, just want to say welcome to everyone that's joining us. Dinosaur, Sean Hurl's in the house, Mark Swift, Nipin Sharma, Nuno Espirito Santos in the house as well. Juice Nuts is in the house. Just a couple of comments on Doherty before we move on to the next one. Sean Hurls is basically saying, left his form in the Black Country, although he's done it for Ireland. I think that video deleting his love of Arsenal took the heart out of him. Nuno Espirito Santo is saying here, Doherty runs down the wings like a headless chicken. He loves Arsenal. He loves Arsenal. Deep down, he knows he's a filthy gooner. Dinosaur is saying, with 15 goals and 15 assists in the past 2 seasons, hey, 15 goals? He's second only to Trent Alexander-Arnold as the Premier League's most productive right back, stroke right wing back. What happened? Really?
That's
15 goals and 15 assists. Okay. Is that at Wolves? Because
I can't.
I don't understand that one. Dino, please.
Yeah,
give us a little bit of info on that one. Juice Nuts is saying, how do contract terminations work? Do we just pay up his potential salary left, or can it be negotiated? Any penalties? Genuinely don't know these types of details. I think if it's a contract termination, then normally we pay out the rest of his contract, don't we? Or I think they come to an agreement. It depends. It can work 2 ways. They either come to an agreement and say, right, you've got X amount left.
Yeah.
We'll give you this much, walk away.
Yeah.
Or if they're desperate to get rid of him, then they'll just say, right, there's your full.
Because I think that's what they did with Rorden, didn't they? I don't think we paid up his contract. I think we came to an arrangement with him because he didn't want to be here. We were happy for him to go. I'm sure I saw that we came to some sort of agreement whereby we terminated his contract that benefited both us and him. And I think he then walked into to another club anyway, didn't he? Which takes. I don't know. Like,
takes liberties, doesn't it?
It does, because where is he at? Is he at
I don't know. Where did he go?
Oh, it's not. He's not at Deportivo La Coruna, is it? He's in Spain somewhere, isn't he? I'm sure. Is it Betis?
Villarreal.
Oh, Villarreal. That's it.
Yeah,
why didn't Villarreal, if they wanted him that much, why didn't they come to us?
Because if he terminates his contract at Spurs, he's a free agent, so they don't have to pay anything. So they've probably given him a little bit more money, and they've told him, go and do this, get this, and then come to us, and we'll deal with it that way. That's what I reckon.
His agents obviously had words with him, isn't he?
So it's one of them. But so in terms of Matt Doherty, I think it's just a matter of who comes in, and if someone suitable comes in, then we're just going to have to take what their offer is. Because even these loan deals, to be honest, I'm not too keen on them. We just need to get rid completely, because a loan deal means he's going to come back to us. We get rid. And if it means Sam's favourite player comes from Wolves in exchange, the quarterback or the running back, then we use that as a make-way shift. But I'm not holding my breath. And I said this to you the other day as well, didn't I, Mike? On the group, he's not going anywhere. So let's move on to the next player. Next one I've got might be a mixed review on this one, but I'm gone for Yafat Tanganga. All in all, he's played 41 times, come from the academy graduate, 3,103 minutes. He's played 21 times in the Prem, racking up a total of 1,607 minutes, 6 times in the FA Cup, 449 minutes, 7 EFL Cup, 417 minutes, 3 Conference League Cup, 270, 3 Europa Leagues, 270, and again, another player, one in the Champions League at 90 minutes. Go on, I'll let you start on this one.
I would keep him. I would keep Tanganga. I don't think when we look at his performance as a whole over the course of when he burst onto the scene, if you want to call it, or came onto the scene at Spurs. He didn't really make many mistakes. He's quite a physical player. He's a little bit like, and I use this in a loose sense before I get slaughtered by anyone on the comments, but his style of play is a little bit like Romero. Obviously they're worlds apart in terms of like class and stuff, but I mean, he's only young. He's 22, so I think he's very much a confidence player. And you've seen it in his performances. He is capable of playing well. He's capable of putting in. He's certainly a grafter. His effort levels, I don't think, can be questioned. It's just, I just think he's very much a confidence type player. And you've seen it against, like, for example,
Liverpool.
In terms of performances, we've seen it against Man City. Probably, well, I can't remember, but I'm sure he was man of the match, or he was our man of the match. I do think he has ability. I think the only thing that sort of no one knows where his best position is because he is small. 6 foot. See, I thought he was smaller than that. He looks smaller than that on the pitch, doesn't he? He's 6 foot, so he's not actually a bad size for a centre back. But it's just working out for me. It's where is his best position? Like defensively, when he plays at right wing back, he's solid, and he provides sort of. He solidifies us defensively on the right flank. Going forward, yeah, that's questionable. But we've seen it against the likes of Liverpool. We've seen it like last season in certain games whereby when he sort of first started playing at right wing back last season, he was a breath of fresh air. Like he was just something that we hadn't had, and he is quick. He's a quick player.
Yeah.
But somewhere down the line this season, his confidence just seems to have dropped.
I've got a few comments here. We've got Jews not sorry. Saying Sam's favorite player, right? Traore. You mean Darius 3K? Akida Robe. No, I was being sarcastic because Sam does not want him at the club. So that was just me being sarcastic. It's definitely not his favorite player. So yeah. Jews Nuts is also saying here, Tanganga loan his next summer for a year and then judge, as it could go either way.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. That, to be fair, yeah. I think that's probably the most. If he was to go out, I wouldn't want to see him go out permanently. A loan deal would be overseas, somewhere in a different league might be a good move for him.
Yeah, I mean, look at Foyth. Foyth went via Real and he come up. Sean Hurley saying Yafa is not good enough, and with Darius, thanks but needs must. Jews Nuts is saying here, remember we loaned Rose out to Sunderland and he went up a gear. Could happen to Yafa. Do you know what it is with me? What I personally think, right, is he's a strong physical player.
Yeah, he's strong as an ox.
Exactly. And when he plays, he's going to give you 100% because sometimes he tries to do too much.
Yeah, he does.
He tries to do everyone else's job. Whereas if you're being told to play as a right-sided centre-back, stick in that position. Don't go left, don't go centre. Only do when you need to go. Play your position, stay there, and just concentrate. Fix your game up, and just do what you've got to do.
Yeah, it's lack of concentration at times. That's what has let him down in the past.
This is it. And I also think with him, if he gets like Romero, Dyer, or a really good experienced centre back playing alongside him, and he gets a good run of games in that team, I think Darius might be proved wrong, and Sean. I think if you've got them players, he might come out good. And
he's only 22. Centre backs mature with age. They get like you sometimes find centre backs they peak later because of the maturity that you need as a centre back. Like at 22 years of age, you could argue that sort of his reading of the game, understanding of the game at a top level still needs to be developed. There's his positional play still needs to be developed. I mean, you're not gonna at 22 years of age. It's unlikely that a centre back is gonna, unless they are of extremely high talent, that they're gonna be or walk in as it's like John Terry's a prime example. He got better as he got older. When he was, I know he was. It's slightly different with him, I know, because he was a top centre back. But Tanganga, I don't know. The fact that he's young, he's British, he's a homegrown player. I do think he has ability. I just don't. I think if we got rid of him, it might be a mistake if we got rid of him permanently. That's why I don't know who said it, but a loan deal could work wonders for him.
Yeah, Juice Nuts said it as well.
Was it Juice Nuts?
Yeah, send him to law. I agree with you. Mr. K saying here, hi guys, smash a like everyone. Every little helps. We're not Tesco's, mate, but yeah, I agree with you. Every little does help. Just smash the like button. Absolutely. He's also saying Yafat needs a couple more years to mature, but can we spare him to go out on loan right now? This is what we said. We're not going to let any of these players go. I think Doherty probably, yeah, but I don't think he's going to let Tanganga go because personally, I think he wants to keep him, and he can be a squad player that needs to come in.
Yeah.
Porto Mike is saying here, why are we so quick in judging a player? Shouldn't we relax and watch a player for one full season before we hype a player? Just curious.
Yeah, I agree with him. And this is the thing, like he's 20. This is not Doherty's 29 years of age. He's experienced. He's been around the block. I know he's been at. I think I saw previously he was at Hibernian. He's been at Bury. He's been at Wolves for a number of years. He's 29 years of age. He's played international football. So he's been around the block. So we can sort of like pass judgment to a certain extent on Doherty. But Tanganga, at 22 years of age, I don't think we should be too hard on him, just purely on the basis of his age. And he's a centre back. He will get better with age.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's on his ceiling cap yet. But
yeah, do you agree with what Sean's saying here? Yafa equals the new CCV. Is that the 3-digit code at the back of the card?
Who's that? Cameron Carter Vickers is on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Carter
I don't
Vickers.
think so.
No, I don't either.
I don't think so. I don't think he will be. I think
he's better than Carter Vickers all day long.
Yeah. I think we Carter Vickers, we never got to see any potential, and even when we did, it was just not happening for him, and it was unfortunate. But the fact is, we kept loaning him out, bringing him back, loaning him out, bringing him back, and we should have just got rid of him once and for all.
You take away he's had 2 dodgy games recently, hasn't he?
Back to back.
And we've us fans have slaughtered him for those 2. Well, a lot of the fans have slaughtered him for those 2 games. But like, if you take it back a little bit to Nuno's reign, he got sent off for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but
he was having a good game, and it was only because of the lack of maturity, which comes with his age, that he got sent off. Where a more experienced player, like you saw Sanchez dealt with Zaha and got him sent off with those 2 challenges. So it's just a little bit of experience, isn't it? Like how to deal with certain players, certain forwards that you come up with. There's going to be strikers that are going to wind him up, and like Zaha did that with him. But with age comes maturity,
Absolutely.
and hopefully he will mature as he gets older. And I think, as I say, I do think he can. He's got the ability to turn into a good centre back. Just got to give him time.
Automac is saying here, respectively disagree. Tanganga has had only 2 brilliant matches with us, City and Liverpool. He might be one for our future, but he should be a squad at best if we're ambitious. I agree with you.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. We don't want to get rid of him because he might be that one that we, put him on the bench, put him in the squad. You're going to have better players with him, starting ahead of him, but with experience and with him learning his trade under Conte, he only might get the odd occasional games, but we might need him in certain situations. And, if it's 1 or 2 games where we just need him to come and play, do well, then so be it. Because we'd rather have him than the likes of Doherty or somebody like that, because we know we can rely on him. But it's not saying get rid of him. I think maybe keep him as a squad player. If not, then just loan him out and see what happens.
Yeah. And I think he had a good game against Crystal Palace. He just was naive and got sent off. Because Zaha just got in his head. But
this is the problem, isn't it? It's because he's his age, he gets sort of excited and he's a bit naive at times. He just needs to buckle down and just concentrate. And I think, given the time, I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be well beaten. He's going to be our number one choice of centre back, but it's something that it's somebody that we can have in the squad. And
yeah, oh yeah, definitely a squad player. But he just needs to develop his game and he needs a season where he's going to get consistent 90 minutes, and then like you said, we can see where he goes from there. But
right, just before I move on again, I'm just going to remind. Yeah, that's fine. Keep him. Maybe loan or keep him. But just before we move on to the next one, just if everyone's watching, listening, just another quick plug on sending your videos in for the match predictions for the Arsenal game on Sunday. If it goes ahead, just send us your videos across to the number on the screen on the top right hand side, and we'll try and get as many through on the preview show tomorrow. Right, moving on. Joe Rorden. This is one of them, isn't it? There's a lot of questions asked about him, and I personally think he's gone this window. I whether we want to keep him or not, I think he wants to go. We spent 10.8 million on him. He's valued at 7 million at the moment. He's played in total 21 games for Spurs, 1,312 minutes. So he's played 13 times in the Premier League, 807 minutes, 3 FA Cup games, 180 minutes, 1 EFL appearances, and he played for 1 minute. Yeah, that's madness. And Conference League, he's played 324 minutes in 4 games. So he's not played at all. And
that can't be right on his height, surely. He's not five. It can't be. Is he 5'9"?
I think he is.
I thought he was like. He's got to be well over 6 foot. He looks.
I might have got it wrong. Joe Rorden is.
I mean, it doesn't matter about his height really, but
yeah.
Joe Rorden.
He's 193.
There's got to be something about him. He's 24 years.
Sorry.
Is he 6'3"? There's got to be something about his. There's got to be something about his attitude as to why he's not getting regular game time.
Yeah.
At Spurs, because whenever he's played for us, I don't think he's done too bad. I think he's been all right. I mean, okay, he made that mistake against Liverpool last season, where he let the ball bounce in front of him and it's kind of come off his chest. No, did it come off his chest? I can't remember if the ball bounced in front of him and he missed it. And either way, it ended up in the back of the net with Mane scoring. But the problem is when you look at our centre backs, if Dyer's injured, he's coming in as a replacement.
Yeah.
And we've
right. Before you carry on, Porto Max put this on there, so I'll let you answer that one. I've actually liked Rorden. What do you reckon is his problem?
Yeah, this is the thing. I like him. I think there's a centre back in him. I think he's a good young centre back. I just think there must be something with his attitude, because I don't understand why none of the managers that he's had since he's come to the club have given him that consistent run of games, unless they feel he's not up to the levels of your Dyer. Well, Dyer really, isn't it? As such, which.
Yeah, but what levels are we talking about? Because last season, Dyer, Sanchez, none of them had levels, did they? So
no, this is it. And I thought Rorden was the better out of the 3 of them when he had played.
Yeah.
So it's got to be his attitude. That's the only thing I can put it down to, because I don't think it's down to him not being good enough as a centre back. Because I do think he's. When I've seen him play for Wales, he looks good. The problem is there's been a lot of talk about him leaving, isn't there? So you've got Newcastle that are sort of considering buying him, and there's Brighton from what I understand. Yeah. And the region, I think there's been talk or mention of a figure of about 20 million being floated around. I don't know if Brighton would pay that, but if we're going to get rid of him, we have to bring in another centre back. We can't just get rid of him and then just sort of pocket the money and go and buy another player in a different position, because I think our centre backs, I know there's positions all over the pitch that need to be sorted out, but like when we saw who was it against? Chelsea? Was it Sanchez, Davis, and Tanganga?
Uh-huh.
We can't be having that week in, week out until Romero and Dyer fit to come back into the Premier League. That does worry me a little bit. I mean, one of them or two of them at a push, but not all three. So Rorden, it's a tricky one. Like, if we get rid of him, I'd hope that we'd use that money and buy a young, upgraded centre back in his place.
Yeah.
I mean, he's left footed. I'm sure he says he's left
footed. Yeah.
He's left footed. So why can't he play left centre back?
This is the problem. We've had this discussion many times on talking points and other things as well. But I think it's just a matter of there's something that all the managers have seen in him that just don't want him to play. But Juice Nuts is saying sell Rorden to Brighton plus cash and get Lamptey or Basuma. That's a good shout. But
it's a good shout.
It's Brighton whether they want him or not. So, you know,
plus,
Mr. K.
I think we discussed this again. Lamptey, I like Lamptey as a wing back, or even as a fullback. However, 50 million, he's not worth. I think Darius said it, and I actually, looking back on it, I probably do agree with him. I don't think Lamptey's worth 50 million, but he's young. He'll probably, we say this, we wouldn't buy him for 50 million, but then he'll turn out to be an absolute sort of. That knowing our luck as Spurs fans, he'll end up turning out to be a worldie. So, if the price was right for Lamptey, then if Brighton wanted him, then him and a sort of like a player's cash swap deal. If the price is right, I'd probably consider that. But
it's a good shout. It's a good shout. Mr. K here is saying defenders take years to develop.
They do.
Why be so quick to let them go? It's best to loan them out. Let them get better, and then if you really want to sell them, value will be higher. Makes sense and money. It does. Cameron Carter-Vickers, CCV is one prime example of when a loan does not work, because we loaned him out about 7 times and eventually we sold him up for peanuts. So he's just the one in a crop that just didn't.
Have we actually sold him?
I think he's actually gone now. I think he's actually gone. I think from what I believe, we have sold him Celtic. Okay, fair
enough. Mr. K is right. Like centre backs especially take years to sort of develop, to mature, and that you can't that doesn't happen overnight with a centre back. I do agree with what Mr. K is saying there. With Rorden, as I say, it's one of them, isn't it? If the price is right, you'd probably, if you could get a player plus cash deal, you'd probably do it.
Yeah,
I think in this case.
Yeah, Mold Joe is saying here, Joe's got a chip on his shoulder. He's on 10 grand a week. The rest are on 80 to 100. So he just thinks, sod this. I don't really think that is the case. I don't think he's on 10. I think he's on a bit more than that. But
I would have thought he'd be more than that.
Yeah, he probably is on more than that. So yeah, Amit Chow is saying here exactly. We tried that with CCV and it didn't work. This is it. You see, it just depends, doesn't it? I mean, CCV did not look like a centre back anyway. I don't know how. He was one of them players.
His level was quite obvious. His level was Championship, and through all the loans that he had, all the minutes. Like I saw, was it at Bournemouth? I saw him play at Bournemouth. Yeah, it was last season under Woodgate. Yeah. And he actually played quite well under Woodgate. However, he put him in the Premier, like Tottenham's first 11 in the summer under Nuno, and even in the couple of the sort of conference friendly, the friendlies of the Conference Cup, he just looked sort of so below the level that we need. Yeah. He's, as I say, and it's why he's doing well in Scotland. Scotland, the Championship.
That's the level.
I think that's his level. I do.
Yeah. So, on a nutshell, is he going? Is he going to be one of the players to leave?
The thing is, if he's one of the players to leave, why hasn't he gone now? Why haven't Newcastle thrown the money or Brighton come at us with an offer? Do you know what I mean? Like, if that was the case, if we were to believe the tabloids or the news or sources, aggregators, whoever it might be, why is he still here?
I
So
think
I don't know. I'm gonna say he ends up staying.
Yeah, I think Newcastle are looking at alternatives, right? They're looking at Botman and there's another player, I think, Garcia and people like that. And I think Rorden's not on their top 2, top 3 list of defenders. However, if the push comes to the shove towards the end of the window when they haven't bought anyone, maybe then they might think, you know what, we need a little bit of new blood into the system, and they'll come in for him. But all the rumors and all the talk everywhere is that he's not happy. He wants to leave the club. So I personally think, as much as you think he's going to stay, I think one way or the other, I think he's going to go, because he wants game time, and he's not going to sit around for the next 6 months knowing he's not going to get a game, and it's only going to make his relationship worse. So I think he's going to probably go somewhere where he knows he's going to get game time, even go back to Swansea or somewhere like that. But I personally think he'll be gone by the end of the window.
I think he's. I don't. Yeah, I think he's good enough for the Premier League.
He is.
Yeah, I think if the right price comes in, he's gone. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I think if the right price comes in, he's gone. Otherwise, he'll stay at Spurs to the end of the season at least.
Yeah, but he's just going to waste time, isn't he? So, right. Okay, so let's see what happens with Joe Rorden. Next player on the list is everyone's favourite at the moment, Mr. Dele Ali. I put Ali on there, but he's obviously Dele. Right, so in terms of stats, this is a lot. Total appearances for Spurs, 269, 19,121 minutes, 67 goals, 61 assists. For a midfielder in 269 games, I think that is quite astonishing. I think that's very good for, obviously, considering the last 2 seasons he's not done anything. So 67 goals, 61 assists is not bad. I mean, in the Prem, he's played 181 games.
Notched 51 goals, isn't he?
51 goals and 37 assists.
It's not bad.
So that is not bad for a midfielder. And,
no, it's not really.
And the question on everyone's lips is obviously, why can't he reproduce them kind of stats on a consistent level? We don't know what's happened, what's gone wrong. What we got to remember is we paid 5 million for him, and we could have sold him at his peak for 50, 60, 70 million. We chose to hang on to him, hoping that he's going to deliver consistently week in, week out, year in, year out. But it's just not happening.
I think the problem is, in Ali's, and this I think is the case for someone else as well. I won't mention the name yet, but for Ali, I think it's a case that it's not working out for him, because where we had Pochettino, and he thrived under Pochettino, he's then got the sack, and then the managers that we've brought in after Pochettino are completely different. They're essentially counter-attacking, they're low block counter-attacking managers. Jose and Conte are essentially in the same sort of mold in terms of how they sort of set their team up to a certain extent anyway. And I don't think that's Dele Alli's. I just don't think that those sort of tactics and sort of that game plan suits him as a player, which is why, because he's even said it himself, he's been asked to do a different job. He's been asked to be more of a box-to-box midfielder. He's been asked to do more defensive work, whereas sort of like when we were under Pochettino, that 4-2-3-1, that kind of sort of allowed him to have that license to be a little bit further up the field. Hence why a lot of his goals were coming from being played in from behind Kane. And do we get rid of him? I think this goes back to being cutthroat. it's not working out for him. It hasn't done for the last two managers. I don't think that's any fault of Ali's. I think it's Tottenham, I think he's a player that's just been mismanaged. I think essentially, I just don't think the managers that we've brought in suit him or suit him as a player. So I think it's like I say, from my perspective, I think if we're going to be cutthroat, then perhaps sell him, get the money in, and look to get someone else in.
Cool. So Sean's saying here, Delhi's lost his mojo. Yes, 100% agree with you. Jews Nuts is saying, on the face with Delhi, keep him till summer and re-evaluate. Now, what Jews is saying here, I sort of agree, because there's nobody coming for him yet, right? If he was going to be that hot property, Newcastle, whoever else is in PSG, whoever else was interested would have come in. We're day 14 of the January transfer window. And apparently, if you're listening to what everyone else, Conte and everyone else is saying, nobody's coming for him. No one's inquired about him. So on the face of it, people have looked at it and said, you know what, he's not somebody we're going to look at this window. And the other thing as well is, in January, is Daniel Levy really going to allow him to go to somewhere in the Prem, one of our opponents, for 6 months? You know, and then he gets his mojo back, and it could come back to bite us or haunt us.
He plays under a manager, under a more an attack-minded manager. You'll probably find that it will suit him and his game, and then he'll find he'll just find his game again, and he'll do well. I honestly do sort of think that. I don't think it's a case that Dele Alli's just washed up and he's no good no more. You don't. I mean, he's only, what is he, 25? He's not washed up at 25. He hasn't lost his ability. He's just, I think, he's just lost his way. We've brought in managers that just don't suit him. As I say, I think it's a case that some of these players have, it's not the fact they're not good enough. I just think they're just being mismanaged. I think we've brought in managers that don't suit the players that we've got.
Yeah.
Nuno, Conte, and Jose, they're all very similar, aren't they? And take the difference away, or take the difference away from the fact of world class Nuno not being in that bracket, etc. But their styles are all very similar.
Yeah.
But
see what happens on that one. Muljo's saying Delhi's not interested in being a player anymore. All he wants to do is mess about with C-list celebs, get rid. Problem is, Muljo, is we're not going to be able to get rid in this January. I personally don't think we're going to get rid of him. I think it's like what we've said. Yeah, I think they're going to keep him. Conte's going to try in the next few months to try and get his mojo back, or try and get some kind of input or output out of him. Try and get him to play a little bit. Try and get some of his good, what he was good at back. Because Daniel Levy's not going to allow him to leave, because no one's putting a bid, and he'll want as much money as possible. So, with me, I think Delhi is going to be staying in the January window. See what happens in the summer.
I think you're probably right there. I don't think I just don't, unless the club comes in with an appropriate offer. I just don't see him I just don't see him going yet.
Yeah,
I'd say if the right offer came in, not from a rival, then probably would say yeah.
I mean, Portomac is got a point here. Conte has spoken 2 players for each position. Where would you put him? Genuine question. Buying backup for Kane, Bergwijn for Son, probably. Who's Delhi's backup? I still think playing behind the striker number 10 role, I think he'd be suited to that. I think,
and that's pretty much give or take where he was under Pochettino.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives him that license to run in behind Kane, which we saw so many times, which is where a lot of his goals came from.
This is it.
Running beyond Kane and
score. Yeah, exactly.
Scoring. But we don't play like that under Conte. That isn't how it happens with Conte. This is where this is where I say like some of his game has almost been taken away from him, and he's had to change. Like the managers are trying to mold him into a different type. Like you saw under Nuno, we wanted him to be more of a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah,
and he's not a box-to-box midfielder. He's got the engine for it. We've seen it that he's got the engine for it, but he just doesn't. He's just not effective as a box-to-box midfielder. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
he's more effective if he's got that license just to
roam around being a number 10,
forward.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
To a certain extent, that isn't that number 10.
Yeah,
but.
that's it. We can go on forever about Delhi here, but on final note before we move on to the next one, Muljoy is saying, I agree, nobody will take him, Sid. The only hope is someone has a word in his ear and he starts taking it serious again. I agree. If someone can have a word with him and get him, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
let's see what happens. But you know what? It's a good problem.
I think we'll end up keeping him just on the basis that I don't think anyone's going to come in and make a sort of like a serious bid that would tempt us to say take him.
Absolutely.
Not in January anyway.
Exactly. Right, moving on to the next one is Giovanni Lo Celso. Find a hole, jump in it. I'm just going to keep it sweet and simple. I don't think he's primed to be playing in the Premier League. I think he's because of his height. I think he's finding it a bit of a struggle as well, strength as well. And I think the pace is too fast for him. Yeah, you need somewhere like Spain or Italy where you can just cruise and be that main man with somebody else who's going to do all the donkey work. I think playing for Spurs, they're asking too much of him. And me personally, I think if we can get, we paid 28 for him. If we can get 19 to 20 this window, which, like I said from day one, I don't think we're going to be selling any of these players in the January window. But this is a potential for a summer move for him to go. And between now and summer, if he ups his game, plays a couple of decent games, I think he'll get his move in the summer. But he's played 83 times for Spurs, 5,182 minutes. And for a creative midfielder or somebody who was going to create anything, for me, in 83 appearances, he's scored 8 goals and 6 assists, which I think we're being robbed. We're being robbed because 8 goals and 6 assists in 83 appearances, I think is embarrassing me.
Yeah, but a lot of the appearances from him, is that including him just coming on for like 5-10 minutes towards the end of the match? Because that's a lot of from what I see. So then you can't really expect him to sort of hit the levels that Delhi's sort of hit with his figures, because if majority of his game time is coming towards the end of the match and he's only getting the odd 15, maybe 20 minutes at a push, I know there's going to be in that figure there is going to be matches where he has started and stuff, but again, this is another one. I just think he's a player he's got ability. Like that can't be put into question. He has bags of ability and talent, but the managers that we've got, he just doesn't suit their style. Like you're never going to see him in that double sort of, I say the centre midfield double pivot type scenario with what you see with Højbjerg and Skip. You're never going to get that level of I say effort, but you're not going to get that level of distance being covered on the pitch like you do from Skip and Højbjerg. He's not that. He's a creative player, but these creative players that have been brought in suit managers like Pochettino, where you set up as in a 4-2-3-1, and they can have that opportunity to sort of flourish from an attacking perspective. But
if you
under Conte, he's got under Conte and Nuno, he's got defensive duties, which I just don't think that's him.
Yeah, but if you look at his Premier League, 54 appearances, 2,652 minutes, 1 goal and 3 assists.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
And the other issue with him is he's just injury prone, isn't he?
This is a problem, isn't it?
Although, and this is one, and I've said this on previous streams, as much as I think he is a good player, I do generally think he is a good player. His injury record just just screams out Lamella to me. And
yeah,
personally, I would take the money for him. Wherever
yeah.
was offered, I would take it.
Yes, I've got you convinced. Yes,
I would, just on the basis. It's just purely on the basis that his injury record.
Yeah.
We just don't. We need to be a little, as I've said, we need to be a bit cutthroat insofar as we need players that are going to be reliable in terms of fitness. They're not going to be picking up injuries. Play 2 games. Oh, you're injured for a month.
Yeah,
We've been there.
totally
We've done that. We've been burnt by so many players over the years like that.
I mean,
he's always fit for Argentina. He'll be fit for Argentina in the World Cup World Cup qualifiers.
100%, and he won't even get injured. He'll play every night, and he'll play the full 90 minutes every game.
And he will get. You'll find he'll pick up a blooming groin injury or a hamstring or quad
after he comes back. Yeah,
after he comes back, and he'll be back on the table.
Yeah. 100%. But I think
I'd flog him just on the injury record alone.
If somebody comes in for him in January window, I think it'd be a no-brainer for me. It'd be a no-brainer.
As long as as long as we reinvest it, like it's sort of as I say, you know what, not Conte. We know what Daniel's like.
Yeah,
he's just gonna. I just don't want take the money and then we don't replace him.
Yeah,
that just cause uproar if we don't replace these players. That if we do sell, if we don't replace them with like for likes, just upgrades. Exactly. There'll be uproar. So
Sean Hurley saying Lo Celso is too soft for the PL. Terry Wright is saying I think Gio is better suited to La Liga. Amrit Crow is saying just look at how soft he hits his free kicks. It's embarrassing. Mr. K is saying we've only just started to pay for Giovanni. Another Levy contract disaster. Porto Mike is saying
it's probably a Hitchin disaster, isn't it? More than a Levy, really. But
Porto Mike is saying another player I like and don't understand why so effective with Argentina but mediocre with us. I think a lot of people are saying exactly what Porto Mike is saying there.
But it's the way Argentina is set up.
Yeah.
You're not going to play Argentina the same way that Conte, Nuno, or Jose set Spurs up, because you're not going to give defensive duties to the likes of Messi, him,
Dybala. You've got
Dybala. You've got
Di Maria's there as well.
You're not. So they're complete. As I say, they're just set. They appear to be set up different setup, isn't it? Like they're just more attacking.
Juice Nuts is the Celso always broken. Agree with Sid. EPL is too much for him. It is true. Moljo is saying GLC, we've got to keep him unless we get someone in for his spot. If by some minute we can keep fit, he might do something for us.
And he's right insofar as this is a numbers game for us, and that's the only reason. If no one comes in, we'll end up keeping him to the end of the season just because it's a numbers game. Yeah. And also, like Mr. K said, we've only just started paying for him.
Dinosaur is saying in the summer swap GLC for Spanish playmaker at Real Betis, Sergio Canales. Gio wants to go back to Real Betis. Good shout. But again, it depends on whether it's Conte player, isn't it? Whether Conte wants him or not.
Yeah.
So
Conte does speak he seems to speak quite highly of him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From what I've heard in these press conferences stuff.
This is it. GLC could possibly still come good under Conte, but it seems unlikely. I really want Gio to work for Spurs because he's got some great passing in. Keep him away from free kicks and corners, though. This is the thing, innit? Everyone seems to be singing from the same hymn book when it comes to him. So we'll leave it at that one. If a price comes in for him, which is decent, then we take it. If not, we just wait till the summer and try and negotiate either a swap deal, or if someone comes in with some decent money, you just take the money and run. Right, moving on to my next one. This one's a bit of a debatable one. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, but Steven Bergwijn, 24 years old, 64 appearances, 3,259 minutes. He scored 5 goals, 10 assists, 43 appearances in the Premier League, 2,224 minutes, 4 goals, 6 assists. This is a very good problem to have because on his day, he can be absolutely...
We've seen it.
We've seen it, yeah. But
Who
then
was it?
again,
Crystal Palace, was it?
Crystal Palace and West Ham in the cup as well.
It was West Ham, I'm thinking. That's it.
Yeah, West Ham in the cup. But he's injury prone and he's too hit and miss, isn't he? He's too hit and miss. And
yeah,
but then again,
he's hit because he never gets a consecutive run of games. This is the issue. Like these players need a run of games to be able to pick up form, to be. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, you can just see there. Yeah, he's only played 64 games.
64 games in total. The problem is, right?
He doesn't score enough, you could argue.
Yeah, but out of all the players that we've mentioned so far, there's only one player and one team that's actually put in an offer or come in for one of our players, and he's the one. And Ajax won him big time. We've had an 18 million bid rejected, and now they've sold Neres. They're now coming back for him. So Ajax won him, and I think they won him big time, desperately. They won him. So
I personally wouldn't sell him. I
wouldn't.
I'd keep Bergwijn. I do think there's a player there. His effort levels can't be put into question. He's a bit of a workhorse. The only thing you could argue is he doesn't score enough goals, which is a fair argument. But again, like he's not getting a run of games, and you could argue, well, that's part of it being down to him being injured or having been injured. But I would certainly keep him to the end of the season. See how he is the rest of the season, and then maybe reassess the situation back in the summertime. Unless Ajax pay us the money that we paid for him, then I'd probably be like, I might get rid of you because we could get an upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 32 people watching at the moment, so please smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed or if you haven't got a membership, please join as well. So, yeah, keep smashing the like button. With Bergwijn, I think there's a lot. I mean, Lloyd Hughes is saying here, I'd keep Bergwijn. I like him a lot. He's a player who needs regular starts, though. Correct. Yeah. Stuart Austin is saying Bergwijn is another one that can go. Okay, Ajax will buy him, hopefully. Jews Nuts is saying, I love Bergie. He's a confidence player. Big Sam or Redknapp will get a tune out of him. We've got a few talking about Makandai here, but we'll come back to that one. Terry Wright is saying, keep him. Too early to give up on him. He needs a good run of games, but he seems to be the only player with any real value. That's true. George sums it up here. 15 million for CVB. No chance.
Yeah, I agree. You might as well give it away.
Exactly. Enrique saying definitely keep Bergwijn.
Yeah.
Jews Nuts is saying if Ajax won him, means they see quality. They are no mugs. Yeah. You know what? That's true. And Portomac sums it up here as well. He's the only player I've seen that can dribble sprinting on the break without once looking at the ball. He's got the talent, just got no confidence in front of goal.
That's it. He's a confidence player.
Yeah.
But confidence comes with giving them a run of games. Like you pick up confidence with a run of games. He hasn't, for whatever reason, had the run of games. But I agree. I think it's too early to give up on him.
Yeah, I mean,
18 million. What was it? 18 million euros. That's an absolute. It's a liberty.
Yeah, it's a liberty.
But then that's what you'd expect Daniel Levy to come in with. So maybe Ajax just playing us at our own. Playing us at our own game there. Playing Levy at his own game.
Of course, Scott M saying here, sell Bergwijn. He isn't bad, but isn't close to good enough either. And with a club interested in him, we could use the money to get a player that can actually play for us. I agree, but disagree because we sell him. Do you honestly think Daniel Levy is going to spend that money on someone better? I personally don't think he will. You know, Mr. K, Stevie B is low on confidence. All good scorers need confidence. He's been stated for decades. Why do we forget? Give him a run for season and then evaluate him. Let's see what we can do. Let's just sell and rid. Yeah, that's it. So there's a lot of mixed reviews on that one. I think that 75% to 80% want him to stay, get a good run in the team, and prove his worth. And then
we've seen it. He had a good game against Man City at the beginning of the season when it was him. Who was it? Him, Son, and was it Lucas Moura in the front three?
Yeah.
he had a good game there. He's had a good game against West Ham.
Yeah.
I think I think we should keep him.
Keep it.
I wouldn't
Yeah, I
say
don't
not.
think he's going to go, to be fair. I think they're taking the biscuit with that offer. Unless they come
Yeah.
up with something a lot more concrete and a lot better, then we go. So, well, move on to the next one. And everyone's talked about this. There's loads and loads of conversation, and I think everyone has had enough. I'm not going to talk that much about him. Stats will say all for himself. I'm not going to let you talk too much about him as well, because we've had this discussion before. We had it the other day as well. But Tanguy Ndombele has played 92 appearances, 5,182 minutes, scored 10 goals, 9 assists in the Prem, 63 games, almost 3,600 minutes, 6 goals, 5 assists, and about three minutes of absolute wonderful skills in all that 5,182 minutes, and summed it all up the other day when he got absolutely slaughtered and got booed off. So 34, we paid 54 for him. His value at the moment is 34. He is a player that needs to go as soon as possible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's got to go. I know what you're going to say, Mike, but
I'm going to be controversial.
I think he's got to go.
I think this is a case again that we've brought a player in under Pochettino, who would have suited the start of, like, he would have suited Pochetino's style of play and what he wanted from his team. However, then we've brought in managers that are the complete opposite to Pochettino in many ways.
Yeah,
and I just think he's been mismanaged. I honestly do think it's a case of mismanagement. I think if he plays under a manager similar to Pochettino, someone that's more attacking, and he's the sort of, I suppose, the formation sort of favours him insofar as what he's good at, then I think you'd see a different Tanguy. I know you can't just. I know there's the argument where you can't just put a player where he wants to play, but I just think he's been mismanaged. I just don't think the way Conte, Nuno, Jose, although he did play quite a bit under Jose, and he did have quite a few good games for us under Jose, but I just don't think he just doesn't suit those managers and what they want from a player in his position.
Question. Before I go to the comment section, and I think there's quite a few question, and I just want a simple answer. Yeah. Sell or keep? Because I'll tell you why. Because after what's happened, and now he's training alone. He's not even training with the first team. And I'm going to put a comment up in a minute, which Mr. K has just put up as well. But I want to ask you the question, sell or keep? And just keep it simple.
If he doesn't want to be here, then sell him.
Right. So we've got right. George is saying the sulk master, get rid. He can go and play with his friends. Lloyd Hughes is saying Tanguy can go. He loses his breath running onto the pitch. Jude's nuts is selling, sell. Terry Wright is saying out, poison and a total waste of God-given talent. This is what I was referring to, Mr. K's comment. And Ndombele will never play for Spurs again. It's a board decision. Conte called it a footballing decision that he didn't make. And I heard that as well. And that to me
it's just crap management of him though. It's like it's complete mismanagement of him. I think. I just don't think you've got rid of Pochettino, and then we've brought in managers who are complete opposite to Pochettino, and the way the Spurs tradition is of attack-minded football, we don't play that anymore. It's the complete opposite, and that's why I think he's struggling, because because we're not an attack-minded club anymore. It's almost like we've changed our philosophy to a counter-attacking football club, if that makes sense. And that's why the likes of him, Lo Celso, Ali, they're all struggling because the tactics don't, and the style of play just don't suit them.
So, question to you, right, is we've got probably the best manager in the world at the moment at Spurs.
Yeah.
Would you then have him as your manager, or do you want another manager to come in that can get the best out of Tanguy, Dele, and Lo Celso? If you was given the choice, right hand take Conte, left hand take them three, which one are you going for?
The problem there is, what manager would you bring in? Because attack-minded manager, I don't know any in the game at the moment that everyone just seems to be.
But the question is, Conte or them three players? What would you take? Them three players or Conte?
Obviously, I'd take Conte because he's a world-class manager. Right. But this is where Spurs just don't have. We don't have a philosophy as a club. Our tradition as a football club has always been an attack-minded football team. Having that brand of football as attacking. If that's the case, if that's how we've always played, why are we bringing in? I'm obviously Conte's world-class manager. Jose's a world-class manager. Nuno, that's questionable. But these managers aren't fit for that tradition that us Spurs fans want to see. You want to see attack-minded, free-flowing football.
Yeah,
you're not going to get that under these managers. So, but in answer to your question, I'd obviously I'd take Conte. But if you're going to take Conte, bring in the players that fit his style of play, fit his philosophy, fit his tactics. Otherwise, we're just going to have more players like this that are just not going to be suitable.
Yeah, Stuart Austin is saying it's a shame with Tanguy because he's got magic. Moljo is saying Tanguy is such a waste of fantastic talent, just not got that mind for professional football. Juice Nuts is saying his mindset is not there. And we owe 34 million in wages for Tanguy. Even if we sell him at 34, we lose money. Sean Hurley is saying sell. So it's just basically everyone saying sell, get rid is, and the biggest question for me is we paid £54 million for him. Are we going to get 34 million? I don't think even at this current market he's priced at 34 million. He's not going to get 34 million for him. So it's going to be a question of you're just going to have to wait till the summer. I don't think anyone's going to come in for him in January unless we loan him out. And I don't think there's anyone.
This is where the issue we've got. We all want to see players coming in, but the recruitment. How is Hitchin still in the position that he's still at Tottenham Hotspur? How is he still associated with us? Because we all blame Levy with the transfers that we've paid. Well, it's not Levy's fault if he's relying on his chief scout or his recruitment team to say this player suits our football team or suits this manager or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Levy's relying on the likes of Hitchin to tell him, we'll get this player, he's good, this is what we need, this is the reports that we've received from the scouting team, blah 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 blah. I just don't get how Hitchin's still in that, he's still in the job, let alone associate with Tottenham Hotspur.
I mean this
baffles the mind baffles with why he's still here. He's the root cause in my eyes. When you look at we criticize these players, etc., but in my eyes, the root cause of the problem is Hitchin and his scouting team, his recruitment team. It's just
there you go.
Inadequate is putting it politely.
Lloyd Hughes sums it up there. Our scouting is poor. That's a huge issue.
It's terrible.
Right. So I don't want to discuss Ndombele anymore. It's a problem for Conte. It's a problem for Levy to solve, and
we'll be stuck with him until the summer at least.
I think so. Right. Moving on to the last one, I think it is, and this is I don't know if it's not a controversial one, but I just don't see the point of this player being at Spurs. They either need to sell him completely or loan him back out. Jack Clark, we've had him for, I know he's made 4 appearances for us and he's played 95 minutes of football. And them appearances, one in the FA Cup for 25 minutes, two in the Europa League, I think 2 appearances, 26 minutes, and the Champions League qualifying for 44 minutes. We paid 9.9 million for him. Absolute, I don't know what. Again, this is academy. I'm going to go through the scouts and whoever. You've got him in for 9.5, 10 million quid, and you've absolutely. He's just not getting any game time. He's not getting.
He's a walking injury, mate. That's the issue.
Yeah.
He's a talented lad. I've seen him play loads
We've seen
of
him at
times.
Leeds.
Well, not just at Leeds, but even in the academy and stuff. Like, he's got talent. That's not a question. He's just a walking injury. He's another Lamella. He's the same. Again, I go back to this
worse
point
than
of
Lamella.
He's a modern day Darren Anderton. Is essentially what he is. He's got loads of talent, but he'll be on the bench more time, be on the treatment table more times than he is on the pitch. On that basis, problem is, who's going to take him when they look at his injury record?
Exactly.
The amount of injuries is just. Oh.
I mean, look, he. I mean, I'm just going to say this quickly before I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Mr. K saying Jack Clark should be given his life back. He's not doing anything here. Let him go to Norwich or whatever. This is the guy, we bought him. We sent him back to Leeds on loan, right? And Bielsa didn't want him. This is the player that previous season he was doing bits for Leeds United, and that's what we bought him on. Then we said to them, all right, we'll buy him and you can have him back on loan so he can get better and experience. And then Bielsa didn't even play him at all. In fact, there were certain games, or a lot of the games, he wasn't even getting it in the squad. So, and then I think from there he moved elsewhere, and then he's come back to Spurs. Why, I don't know. And there's also rumours that he's on 3 times the amount of money Joe Rorden's on. So it mystifies. This is another one of absolute Hitchin and Daniel Levy's major cock up. I haven't got a clue what's going on, but
I don't blame Levy at all. He's just paying what he's being told to pay. Like, he's been told, this player suits Spurs. We need him, and that's going to be on the recommendation from. Again, I go back to the recruitment team, and Hitchin is in charge of the recruitment team.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the whole point of where we say, our recruitment's poor. Well, there's a certain individual that should be taking responsibility for that, and yet he seems to be Paratici's right-hand man. I just don't get how he's. If we weren't performing in our job, and we weren't hitting, and we were underperforming or not hitting targets, the chances are we'd either be disciplined or would be under some sort of review plan, or if it continued, we'd get the heave-ho. How's Hitchin still at this club? It baffles me. The mind is baffled with that. But Jack Clark, I think he's a talented youngster. His injury record is just, and again, this goes back to the point of there's too many players at the club who seem to spend more time on the treatment table than on the pitch, and we don't need that.
Because we've got one of the best training facilities and the stadiums in the world, and we've probably got one of the best fitness gyms in the world and everything else and whatever. So they're getting all the treatment for free. They're getting the best doctors in the world. That's why. That is the main.
But we're willing to let Markandai go.
I know.
But we're going to keep him. Work that out.
It's wicked. It's just
they're saying that Markandai he's one of the most talented players we've had in the youth academy. Now, unless our academy, and he's not getting the Spurs first team, or he's not deemed good enough to get in the first team. Now, either it's a case of our academy is that bad,
must be,
that these players just, if they're not deemed good enough for the Spurs first team, then these academy players must be absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But again, you compare Clark and Markandai, and why not? I just don't understand why we'd be prepared to let someone like him go to Blackburn on a permanent deal. Why not say to Blackburn, you can have him for the end of the season. You can have him to the end of the season and we can review the situation come the summer. I know Markandai wants to say. I know there's talk about he wants first team football, etc. Well, where we want to get to, i.e., we want to be challenged as a club. We want to be challenging for top 4. Markandai is not going to be that player that's going to help us come straight in and help us achieve that. So let him have the experience. This is what Chelsea do. They've just got a conveyor belt of players that are just the amount of players that they've got out on loan is ridiculous. They've got players at what is it? Norwich, Crystal Palace. I can't think of the other teams off the top of my head, but Aston Villa is one of them maybe. But why is Tottenham not just follow the same model as Chelsea and just loan these players out? Just loan them out to the end of the season, or give them, say, to the end of the season, review it, and then go back out till January, and then come back, and then we can see how you go for the rest of the season from January onwards.
It's absolutely mental that the fact that they're letting one of our best under 23s leave for 500,000. It's, you know what, it's typical.
It's going to come back and bite us on the back. That
big time. But I mean, I saw that at the beginning. I was going to mention it briefly, but it's you know what, it's just absolutely mental. But on that note, it's been, obviously I didn't want to do transfers in this week because there's not much to talk about. It's just rumours, loans, rumours, nothing going in. So these are the potentials. Now, out of these ones, Mike, probably the only one that I can see happening is Joe Rorden and Jack Clark.
Yeah. Well, you say Jack Clark. I think it's more wishful thinking, isn't it?
Exactly. But like I said to you, half of these I ain't going to go. We're not going to get rid of anyone. It's all talk. And yes, we need to get rid of them. Sentimental value needs to get out the window. We need to be cutthroat, like you said, but it's not going to happen.
No.
And
with regards to Jack Clark and Markandai, there's other players in the academy who are younger than those two that we've just mentioned.
Yeah.
Why just conveyor belt? Like I say, they get to a certain point, loan them out, get them first team football, get them like Scarlett. I think I was saying, I'm not too sure. I think we talked about on Talking Points a few months ago with Scarlett, and it was like, would you loan him out or would you keep him in the academy? And I was like, initially, I was like, oh no, keep him in the academy and let him grow under. I think it was Mason was in charge at the time. But my thoughts now on this is, I see how Chelsea operate, and they get a lot of these players are coming back far better than when they first left. So Scarlett, find them a loan deal and get them out, and then bring the next youngster come through the academy to the under 18s, etc. And same with Alfie Devine. Alfie Devine looks like an absolute top class talent as a youngster. Get him out on loan, get him first team action, get him the experience, and then
if you're not gonna get into that first team and you've got no chance of getting into that first team, then why are you just letting them play under 23s? I totally agree with you. Send them out on loan, let them get the experience, match time. And if they go to the League One or Championship, they're going to get toughened up as well because they're going to get the SHIT kicked out of them.
They'll toughen up. Same with Harvey White.
Exactly.
I think I'd loan them out. I'd loan a lot of these youngsters out now. I think that's what Spurs need to do in order to get the best out of some of these youngsters. Just loan them out, get them first team football, whether it's in the Championship. If they're younger and it's League One or League Two, experience. If they get regular minutes, then that's only going to sort of help them improve. And then you're freeing up space in that academy in the under 18s or the under 23s for more youngsters to come through, and play in there and develop and be coached by, I don't know who's in charge for me. I think it's Mason still, isn't it?
Yeah, Mason. So Mason's coaching, isn't he? So one of them.
Oh yeah, he's coach, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, there was talk about Nuno actually coming in, but
I don't know. But
anyway,
you know what? On that note, just like to thank everyone for joining in tonight, watching us and listening in. Like I've mentioned a few times in the show, we've got a massive North London derby on Sunday. We still don't know whether it's going ahead or not. It probably will, or we want it to anyway. But send us your video score predictions in. The numbers at the top right-hand corner. I'll just put it up one more time. All you've got to do is just a quick 30-second video. Tell us what you think the prediction is going to be. If you want to put in who's going to score, you can do. And text them into +44 7774 364 819. And hopefully tomorrow in the preview show, we will play as many videos as we can, and hopefully they'll all be Spurs to win, whatever score. But yeah. Just want to thank you, Mike, for coming on tonight, talking about potential exits. We could have gone for hours and hours, but one needs to go and play football now, get a bit of fitness back in. But yeah, it's been a pleasure doing this one tonight. Next week, hopefully, we'll have some transfer ins. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Oh, fingers crossed.
But not. I'm still sticking with my Vlahovic and Kessie. Yeah, but before the end of the window. To what capacity, how, when, and why, I don't know, but it will happen.
I'm just hoping we get another top centre back. Get Kessie in, and I'd be happy with Jesse Lingard. To be fair,
that's it. But you never know. And everyone, have a great weekend. Come on, you Spurs, up the Spurs, and we shall see you soon.
Cheers.